That's more like it. Now England's out of the World Cup, all those Tory MPs can stop pretending to like football and leave it to Labour MPs to pretend to like football. This is so much more civilised. It's coalition-ish. New politics like. On the surface, after you, jolly good fellow. Beneath the surface, it's brutal, as bloody as ever. High ambition and broken dreams, and that's before the cuts. When they start, no one's going to be safe.
I think the whole public sector is having to put a brave face on what is a very difficult time, and not of the public sector's making. We will work very closely with partners, we will drive efficiencies out of a service, but the harsh reality is it is highly likely over the next few years you will see a drop in police numbers.
The cuts will be big, they will be tough to achieve, and cuts will fall on the police as they will on other important public services.
Play. You know, you'd think it was all a jolly game if it wasn't so painfully serious. What about those figures suggesting there'd be well over 1 million jobs lost under the coalition? They've been shown at the Treasury, apparently, before the budget. Well, The Guardian threw them up in the air and Labour tried to hit them over the net. It's the Tories and their Lib Dem ball boys and girls smashing our economy and our services for fun.
Doesn't that make reducing the deficit even harder and more painful with bigger tax rises or even deeper cuts in public services? And, Mr. Speaker, why are the Lib Dems just sitting there letting this happen? No one who voted Lib Dem voted for this.
Deuce. Cameron insists twice as many jobs will be created when the economy starts to grow as will be lost because of the cuts, which are inevitable, by the way, whoever's in charge. And as for Labour, cheap populism. If the country had voted Labour in, it'd be even worse.
The Right Honourable Lady talks about reducing the budget deficit, but we haven't heard one single proposal for cutting the deficit. We all know that they left us the biggest budget deficit in the G20, the biggest budget deficit in our history.
Advantage? Well, Cameron, if you believe the opinion polls just now. Though that Tory lead surely can't last once the cuts really get started. And the Lib Dems, well, they're sinking already. Nope, the ball's in the coalition's court, and they've just got to get on with it. Floating ideas like getting the unemployed to move house and hoping that things come right in the final set.
It's not threatening people, far from it. Most people I meet on these housing estates, they desperately want work, and they are trapped, and it's trying to help them find a way out.
It is the get on your bike philosophy, and what he's saying to whole parts of the country is we have no hope as a government of getting work into your area, so you're going to have to move out of your community, and that is frankly disgraceful.
The first time I stepped foot on this court was when I played my semi-final match. You know, I'd gone through the qualifying, I played on all the outside courts.
It's all about the big game, about live action, and sadly Hawkeye and touchline technology are no good if you want to figure out what Labour would have done, what shots Labour might have played if they hadn't lost the election. We'll never know. That's one of the advantages of losing. Actually, it's quite a big one. The rules of the game never change, and now Lib Dem and Tory ministers have inherited the problem from Labour that they inherited from the Tories, who inherited, well, you get the point, like prison overcrowding and like reoffending. And it's Labour's turn to sit in the stands and boo and jeer while the Tories try to deal with the problem and keep offenders out of jail.
Just banging up more and more people for longer without actively seeking to change them is, in my opinion, what you would expect of Victorian England. And it's time we focused on what's right for today's communities.
I'm sure lots of Conservative voters who voted for the Conservative Party at the election on the basis that we were promising to send more criminals to prison will feel very let down by what Ken Clarke said today.
The game's just getting warmed up, but it's amazing the Tories are still as popular as they are. As for the Lib Dems, that's another story. They're just having to grin and bear it. Apart from Nick Clegg, he used to be an actor, you know. Nope, enjoy it while it lasts because it's going to be awful. And the Tories can't hope to make it better by pretending to understand football, by praising the fans at the World Cup.
Not a single arrest for a football-related offence, and the terrible problems that we had in Hazel and in Hillsborough in the 1980s seem now to be behind us.
He should have known better by doing all his homework before uttering any words about Hillsborough, in what context whatsoever. And I'm saying to David Cameron right now, sack this man.
See what I mean? No, let's just enjoy it while we can. Maybe the sun will keep shining. Maybe Murray will win this year. Maybe the cuts won't be as painful as we all imagine. Yeah, right.